Welcome to Brutally Honest Talk Radio, where you will learn about an issue minus the BS. We don't always say what you want to hear, but what you need to hear about the issues of the day. Here's your host, Inger, along with Elmo, with his political insight and commentary.
And hello. This is Elmo the Conservative, coming from Brutally Honest Talk Radio. This episode of Brutally Honest is brought to you by Alpha, Omega, God. The beginning and the end is God. So this is up and coming clothing line. Check the logo, check the graphics. It's high tech, high quality. Look at this beautiful baseball cap. This is the first product that I've purchased. They have like 7 or 8 different kinds of clothing. So check out Alpha Omega God. You can do a search on that. It's a Christian clothing line. And it's got Greek letters because it's based on or has a theme of a fraternity, except it's not. It is an eternity for all. Whereas fraternity is for men, sorority is for women. This is for everybody. So get in line and step for God. I'm in my house right now. If you're on the train or wherever you are, you're coming into my home with me. I welcome you in. You see behind me, I got my Target with the pumpkins on it because I'm trying to be festive, trying to celebrate Halloween season a little bit. So let's get started. This is a political, controversial show, as we keep finding out. We're going to start off by talking about the Proud Boys. I have not seen anything from the Proud Boys that is indicating that they are white supremacists. And you may have already seen or found out that they're multiracial. All right, I've seen interviews with black, they have Asian in there, and it seems to be an organization that is proud to be an American and believe in the Constitution. The media has focused on them since the first time I heard about them was on MSN.com when they were on their way to a rally. And this was in Portland or some city out west. They're on their way to a rally and it hadn't even happened yet. They hadn't even got there. And they were talking about the MSN was talking about how they expected there to be a conflict and something similar to Charlottesville. So, of course, cameras and reporters are there so that they could catch anything if it did break out, but I haven't heard of anything bad coming from them. One of the reasons for this is because the Democrat Party and the media, they have put a boogeyman out there of white supremacy and about white privilege, but there's no face for them to put with it. So, in come the Proud Boys. But if it were such as prevalent and white supremacy was such a thing, such a threatening power, such a threatening force as they claim for it to be, then you would see the names of people. You would see their faces, you would see their names. But it must not be that many of them. Or if there are, they're not doing much damage because the media would definitely jump on that. However, we've seen faces for Antifa and Black Lives Matter and people and groups that are inciting riots and are actually doing some damage. We know their face and we know their names. So it's like, when a child tells their parent, please come in here. I need you to save me. I need you to help me. I need you to be my savior because there's a monster under my bed. And the parent says, no, there isn't. Yeah, there is. Come in, I'll show you. So they come in, they turn the lights on. You look under the bed, you see that there's nothing there. You show them. All right. That seems like that's who the Democrat Party is supposed to be. But perpetuating this lie about white supremacy when the terrible murders in Chicago are going on. All right. There have been 80 people that have gotten shot in Chicago in 1 week. All right. I mean, dozens of killings. I mean, you know how the summer was. You're probably aware of it, and you've seen Mayor Lightfoot speak out and talk about it. So that to me is more threatening than the Klan. I'm not worried about the Klan or about the police hurting me or jacking me up. So let's talk about black on black violence if you want to talk about the most imminent threat. You just have to search for the truth in the media because there's lots of lies out there. So many lies, a shotgun of lies, buckshot lies, buck, buck, buck. If we throw enough lies out there, they won't be able to stop all of them. They won't be able to catch all of them. So let's hit lies and put them out there faster than people can keep up. Now, the way that the media works, and I majored in journalism, so I know a little bit about how the media organizations put a story together. One way that they incite uh, hatred or anger is sometimes by just asking a question. Say, did so and so, or could this turn into this? And they put a question mark on the end of it because it's a question and not a statement. They can't get sued, they can't be held liable. Also, if they leave out pertinent information, they leave things out, that is a form of lying. That is why if you are a witness in a court case, they will make you put your hand on a Bible and swear, even if you don't believe in God. They'll make you swear, do you promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? The reason they say that is because if you don't tell the whole truth, it's skewing the truth and leaving things out and making them seem one-sided. So you see this with the Jacob Blake case and with Breonna Taylor. There are facts that are left out. So we need to get the whole story. You should want to get the whole story. You should want to have your eyes opened. And when you debate people, don't debate them because you're trying to win. Debate because you want to get to the truth. Because as soon as you get it in your mind that you want to win, you close your mind, and that becomes the goal. The goal should be to expose the truth. That is the good thing that comes out of people having a conversation. I want to know why you feel the way you do or why you vote the way you do. Convince me, change my mind. I challenge you, and then people have a conversation, and then maybe we can understand each other a little better and understand where each other is coming from. In September last month, there were 660,000 new jobs in America. I'm just saying this because the Democrats have tried to, in their debates, focus on the economy and how bad things got this year, even though it was due to COVID-19, not because of anything that Trump did. So that is very positive news. And people, thank you to all the governors, like the governor of Florida and other governors who are opening up and letting people get back to work, get back to working for companies and also business owners that need to open their businesses back up. So that is very good, very positive news. That doesn't mean that there are not some people that have lost their jobs or been laid off. That's not what that means. That means that with the sum total, okay, going up and down, that at the end of the month, with all the gains and losses, there were 660,000 more than there were in August. Just like on the stock market, on the Florida New York Stock Exchange, you have the opening bell and the closing bell. Now, the stock market is going up and down all day, but they may say the Dow closed at being 300 points on the upside, but it could have gone down and up and could have lost money, but by the end of the day, which makes it a good day, is what I'm saying. It makes it a good day. So that is just good news, something positive, one positive thing in the midst of all this negative news that we hear out here. Got to talk about Kamala. If you listen to our show, you know that I'm not a fan of hers. It's hard for me to get on board with somebody who's a liar. It's easy to call someone a liar, but say what it is that they lied about. One thing that she lied about in the debate that she just had with Mike Pence, the Republicans want pre-existing conditions to not be covered, or for people to have to pay more out of pocket, or not taking that into account, which really should be left to the insurance companies to work that out. And they already mentioned that. Insurance companies mentioned that in their policies. And when they sign people, all you got to do is talk to a representative or read the fine print. However, she made a statement at the debate. Hey, if you got a heart condition, they coming for you. In other words, trying to scare people, just like they did with universal health care and Obamacare, saying that everybody deserves this. This is a God-given right. If the Republicans are in office, you're going to die. You're going to get sick. You're not going to be able to get coverage. Just scaring people. When actually, and in reality, most people, at least most men, don't even go to the doctor. I mean, men who have health insurance are not going to the doctor unless it's something really, really serious. And before I forget, let me talk about this swearing in ceremony. There was something where Kamala was sworn in for being the first Indian. I don't know what office or what position she was moving into because she hasn't gotten in the White House. She wasn't elected. She was already a senator. So the first Indian to be running for president, or the first Indian to be a running mate of someone that's running for president, someone that got the nomination. I mean, Biden was nominated. Like, I don't really understand. I never saw that before. I never saw that before. But anyway, there was some ceremony where she was being sworn in as the first Indian. So at this ceremony, there's a crowd of people. There's several Indian people, like six or seven, which may have been family members. I didn't see any black people there. And her father's side of the family is from Jamaica. I don't know. Why would you not have any people from your father's side of the family? I mean, there's some bad apples in every family, but you couldn't find one, not one nephew, niece, uncle, cousin, nobody from your dad's side of the family to have represent that side of the family, right? But here's the main thing, and a more important thing that I want to talk about with Kamala is a year ago when she was running for president, because she was running along with a dozen other people, including Klobuchar and Bloomberg and Elizabeth Warren. She was trying to get the nomination, and I believe she dropped out because her campaign fund lost money or was going bankrupt, which is understandable that happens. A year ago, or when she was running for president, she said two things about Biden. Number one, she called him a racist. The other thing is she said that the women who were accusing Biden of sexual assault, she believed them. She believed his accusers. So I just think that at the debate that was last week between Harris and Pence, Pence should have said, do you still believe that he's a racist? Because you said that he was. And is being a racist a good thing or a bad thing? It's a bad thing. Oh, well, if it's a bad thing, then why did you agree to be his running mate? But here's the thing. This is one of the worst answers she could have given. She was on Stephen Colbert's show, and he asked her about that, and her response was because it was a debate. What does that mean? Does that mean that you lie in a debate, or does it mean that you told the truth, but you said that about him? So let's assume that is true, because I don't want to call her a liar if she's telling the truth. Let's assume that it is true that he is a racist, and I believe that he is, but she called him a racist. Less than a year later, he asks her, or the party asks her, to be his running mate. I mean, look, she's a woman of color, and she's a woman. Could help him to win. But She was asked and she agreed. She agreed. So I think Mike Pence could have nailed her by asking her either of those questions. Why did you agree to be his running mate when you said that you believe his accusers of sexual assault? Or asking her, why did you call him a racist? Do you still believe that he is one? There is some belief, I've heard a lot of people say that Trump is selfish or Trump only cares about himself. He only cares about himself. He doesn't care about the country. Now look, I don't need a politician to care about me personally or to target a race of people to care about my people. I don't need that. I want the president to do things that are going to be good for the whole country. What I mean by that, hardworking people, people that are willing to work hard and willing to learn, meaning get education and be trained, and people who are law-abiding citizens. If you have that formula, then America is going to be a great place for you in a great economy. When all of that comes together, you will prosper. Why would he step out of his businesses that were making $400 million a year on average to go into a position like president, which even though it pays about $400,000 a year, I think that was Obama's salary, that Trump didn't accept a salary. He doesn't get a check. He turned it down. The first president to do that since John Kennedy, because Kennedy was rich, not as rich as Trump, but Kennedy had a lot of money. It could not be for fame or attention, because he was already getting that by being the famous celebrity that he was, for being that successful entrepreneur and businessman. He was already famous. He was already known. I mean, I don't know what they paid him to do The Apprentice, but if that, like a presidential salary, was like chicken feed, he may have also not turned it down, but may have, just donated it or had it go to something else or someone else. All right. I mean, you hear this stuff that doesn't make sense. It's easy to throw out, just throw out anything. People who hate someone, they will believe or be very, very likely to believe something negative about that person. You also can never compliment someone who you hate. Hate is a bad thing, just in case people didn't notice. Just for the record, hate is bad and it does blind people. You need to have love in your heart. You don't have to love everybody, but don't have no hatred in your heart because you're not going to be able to see things for what they are. You're not going to be able to see things straight. And then the other thing that I say, not only Trump walking away from his businesses, which have lost hundreds of millions of dollars since he became president. And some people might say, well, so what? He ain't hurting. He don't need that money. Listen, if you're used to making $400 million a year and you have a year where you make a total of 100 million or 125, you're going to be hurting. You're going to feel that. All right. But that's one thing with the money. The other thing is like the life and the lifestyle that he had, because the president is required to live in the White House. The house or the homes that Trump had or has, but he's not living in there now, are comparable to the White House or better. Have you ever seen Donald Trump's plane? Trump had an airplane that made Air Force One look like a Cessna. This plane had gold toilets and sinks in the bathroom. I'm not talking about none of this hollow stuff. I'm talking about solid gold, a real gold, man. I mean, he downgraded his life to be the president. So, and then as hard as he has worked and all the things that he has accomplished, all the bills that he's signed into law, all of the things that he's worked so hard at, all the things that he's worked at, why? Why do all of that? A guy that's 70 plus old, when he could just sit back, kick back, and take it easy and enjoy his money. But that's not what he did. That's not what he did. He's been working hard, and he's kept his promises with ISIS. Is not rearing its ugly head, but that's what happens when you take out the leaders. You kill the head of the snake. I'm telling you, he has done so much. But the media, most of these people are soft and altruistic and idealistic and living in a utopian type of world. So they're offended by a strong, stern guy from Queens who speaks his mind and wants to get something done. He wants to do something. Inger is not on the show today. She's out on official business, so it's not going to be as long as it usually is. I have a question to ask for y'all. Think about this scenario, and this speaks to how black people have been treated who are conservative like myself or who may vote Republican. And I call myself conservative because I look at the values. I look at what they're talking about, reducing the size of government, cutting taxes, getting out of the way, deregulation, letting the private sector build and make decisions and without having their hand on that. Okay, like really, I'm closer to a Ronald Reagan conservative. But Trump, being a capitalist and a business owner, he's done well. He understands the economy, and also many black people are crossing over and changing over and looking. The way that many black people are treated, being called the Uncle Tom and a sellout and all of this stuff, and a traitor, and that's a slave way of thinking. Slaves are scared. Slaves have a traditional life in the way that they live. Do you know that when the Emancipation Proclamation happened, there were many slaves, hundreds of slaves that didn't want to leave. They were free to leave, but they didn't want to because they didn't want to have to take care of themselves or think for themselves. And many of them didn't know, okay? Didn't know and weren't trained and didn't know how to read. And to be in business and to be educated, it helps to be able to read. And then, of course, over the next 10, 20, 30 years, many black people did learn to read and owned land and became entrepreneurs. So now here we are in 2020. There's no excuse for it or that type of thinking. But think about this. And here's my question. I'm saying all of that to say this. If you see two white people in a conversation and one is a Republican voter, one is a Democrat voter, will you in that conversation hear one of the whites say to the other, "You ain't white. You a disgrace. You a disgrace. You shaming our people by voting for that party." What's the likelihood that you're going to hear that? Or when's the last time you heard a white person tell another person, or a white person tell another white, or a Mexican tell another Mexican, or a Indian or a Jew tell another person because of how they vote, okay, because of their political ideology, that they're a sellout or that they are not a Jew or not a Mexican or not white? That's a slave. That's slave jargon. That's slavery dialogue to do that. When people who only see color and tradition, that's all that they can see. And so I just want to mention that we need to get away from that. We need to get out of the habit of doing that. So thank you for attending this episode of Brutally Honest Talk Radio. You can find us all over the place on lots of places, including YouTube is the number one where we're growing by leaps and bounds. Also on Stitcher, Spotify, coming soon to iTunes. And wherever you find us, please leave a comment, give a good positive rating, and most importantly, if you like what you see when you're on our channel, which is Brutally Honest Talk Radio on YouTube, you can do a search for Brutally Honest Talk, Brutally Honest Inger, is to share. Please share to your other social media, including Facebook. Just please share. That's the best thing that you can do to support us right now. So take care and be safe. God bless you. God bless America. Happy Halloween.
Thank you for listening to Brutally Honest Talk Radio. If there's a topic you'd like us to cover, reach out at bruthonest@gmail.com. That's BRUT, honestradio@gmail.com.